These tragedies have to stop.
There must be accountability.
Black, white, brown.
We are one.
We are one.
One.
We will not stick to sports.
We will not shut up and dribble.
This is bigger than basketball.
Change can be uncomfortable.
Change is necessary. We need to talk.
We need to act.
We matter.
We must unite.
Say his name. Stephon Clark.
Stephon Clark. We must unite.
That PSA is a call to action by members of the Sacramento Kings professional basketball team to protest the killing of Stephon Clark. National scrutiny is growing around the Sacramento police after the 22-year-old unarmed black man was shot and killed last week. Clark was shot in his grandmother's backyard, holding a cell phone in his hand. A civil rights lawyer hired by his family has accused the police of, quote, showing no humanity towards Clark, charging they failed to identify themselves, then waited 6 minutes after the shooting to go to him. Sacramento police have asked the public for patience while they complete their investigation. Corey Pegues, former New York Police Department Deputy Inspector, is here with me to discuss the case. Corey, I know you've watched the video. We've looked at the video. We played the video several times last week, the helicopter video and then the more disturbing material from the moment of confrontation on the ground. What do you see when you look at that video?
Well, when I see the video, I see several things. First of all, there was a call for somebody that was obviously breaking into cars, looking into houses, breaking into cars. So the police get to the scene, they have the dog, they do a legitimate search, and they find someone who they believe is a suspect in, this vandalism. They follow him to a very dark location. The officer told him to stop. He actually gets behind cover meaning a house. He got behind a house. He flashed his light. He said gun. Look again. It was very dark, dimly lit. I don't even believe a helicopter was there at that time to light it up because you could see.
Right. It was it's a very dark scene.
Dark. And the officer, in all of these cases, it's the same. It's like the officer's word against what you see on video. And no jury ever is going against a cop at that split second, what he or she saw at that moment. But the problems now that I have with these are, in policing, it's the cop is the one that's in charge. You're behind cover, you're behind concealment, that house, there's enough time, for you to light the area up, give orders. I need a unit to the left. I have eyes on the target. Give me a unit to the left. Give me a unit to the right. North side. Put the helicopter on this location. You got time to buy. But all of these cops, when you look at these incidents, like everyone wants to be the hero. Rush right in there. You think you see a gun, bang, 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 bang. Instead of slowing down, don't go 100. Drop down to 40. Use your training that you're told to use. Cover, concealment, clear and concise orders. Zone of safety. All of those things was in the play. There was a zone of safety. He was at least 20 to 25, 30 feet away. He had cover where he could, observe, keep flashing light, even if he doesn't move.
And he had an asset in the helicopter that he didn't call on.
Exactly. And I'm not, by no means am I blaming a cop, because I also was a cop. I've been in those situations
for many
hundreds
years.
of times.
Yes.
But we have to come to some point in policing where the first thing you got to do is to stop, slow down, and evaluate the situation thoroughly. I mean, the cop had the gun. The cop had one of the more important things was a dog. Let the dog go. If you know that's a suspect, let the dog go and get him. The dog is there.
Because the dog's trained to bring the suspect down.
That's what the dogs are trained to do. Why not utilize it? And you got an overhead. We now know that Stephen didn't have a gun, but the cop didn't know that. I give him the benefit of the doubt. He didn't know he had a gun.
Fair enough.
But even if you even think that he was armed, you have the cover. Now give those orders to try to get him to give himself up.
You basically had the police officers had a building through which they could by which they could protect themselves.
Exactly.
They didn't have to get into a confrontation in that instant with Stephon Clark.
Exactly. Slow it down. You had time. You had another cop right next to you. So you got two, even if he had a gun, we had 2 guns and a dog. Now you got 2 guns and a dog and a helicopter above head and units coming for backup. So the cop, we have all the advantage. Slow down. You got to slow down these incidents, and they're going. And believe it or not, when you think that a person has a gun at you, your adrenaline is flowing. You're thinking about yourself. You're thinking about your partner. Then you add on that it's dark. I get all of that. But what I also get is the only professional in these incidents is the cop, not the person that might have a gun. You're trained to slow down, evaluate, use deadly physical force when it's used imminently against you or another person. Imminently. That's when citizens give you the right to take a life as a cop. And in that situation, in most of these situations, deadly physical force is not being used imminently against a cop or another person. These people are suspected to have a gun, and lo and behold,
cell phone.
cell phone.
So we heard from the local head of the NAACP in Sacramento today, who said, yes, we need gun control in our streets. We also need gun control in our cops. That we need better, which says to me, what she was saying is that we need better training, more training, and better established protocols. Is that possible?
Well, being a cop for 21 years, I have a problem with every time somebody says that cops need more training, because you're basically giving the cops the excuse to say that the training that you already have is inadequate. So you're saying we're putting cops out that doesn't have adequate training? I've been there. They're getting the best training that money can buy. But now they have to utilize, like I said, like I could just go through the motions, zone of safety, cover, concealment. You know, keep your eyes on the subject. Nobody minds if the cop got a flashlight and a gun pointed at him, and you keep screaming. You stand there for 2 minutes until he dropped the gun. But in your mind, you just make it up in 5 seconds. He's not dropping it, bang, bang, bang. No,
right.
Why does it have to go that way? Especially if you're behind cover. That's what you're trained to do. So more training is always good. But trust me, these cops out there in America has the training to deal with these situations, or you need to get rid of the police departments because they're not training them up to snuff.
Let me ask you about another moment in that video where after Stephon Clark was shot, the officers eventually go to him and they then mute their body cameras. How do you interpret that moment?
Oh, that's easy for me to interpret. That's a cover-up. They didn't want to be heard on tape. And there's moments, and the reasons why they give cops in some municipalities the opportunity to mute it is obvious. If I'm on the phone in the patrol car with my wife talking about something, I don't want it on the cam, so we mute it. You know, if I'm using the bathroom, I'm going to cut it off. So those are obvious reasons. But when you're out there, and especially when you utilize deadly physical force, there's absolutely no reason. And the cop who said mute the cell phones, that cop should be fired, or at least suspended without pay, just for contributing to, we don't know. So now we're in a situation, we don't know if they made the story up right then. What are we going to say? What are we going to say? Right then, they just made up the story. I was in police for 21 years. This is what they do. They get the story together. And the best way to get it together is mute it. Hurry up before the supervisor get here. We got to get the story together where it's going to sound like that's what happened. And I believe that's exactly what happened there, because they muted them.
Let me ask you, what do you think is likely to happen to those two officers, given your experience, your knowledge of police departments?
Absolutely nothing. And the only reason is, this is a problem that regular citizens don't understand. Police officers have that right to say if they're in fear of their life, they actually could take deadly physical force and kind of get away with it. We've seen it so many times. Mike Brown. We could go through the cases, Terrence Crutcher, Philando Castillo. I mean, we could just go down the line. And that's the problem. I mean, do we give the cops the benefit of the doubt? I don't know. If I'm there in a poorly lit location, and I believe his phone was black, the gentleman, Stephen's phone was black, it's the middle of the night, just a little bit of light showing on it, all you see is something black, do you convict the cop and put him in jail because in his heart he really, really thought that it was a gun? So, I mean, we have this problem with this, especially in minority and black communities, of unarmed black men getting killed, is something has to be done. Because we can't keep saying this and then saying, oh, what a tragedy. So is it the question more training? I don't believe it's more training. I believe that they should utilize the training that they already have. And to stop, slow down, and give the situation time to develop instead of just immediately going to, you know, I like to tell people when I speak all the time, you can't shoot your way out of this. Right. You can't keep shooting. You just can't keep shooting people and think things are going to get better. You got protests, you got the NBA, you got all of these people talking now. And it's not going to be a jury conviction or an indictment on the cop. I can guarantee you that, because when they lay it down, remember, when you're in the court of law, it's frame by frame. When I was running, this is what I was thinking. When he didn't stop, this is what I was thinking. when I first turned that corner and told him drop it, this is what I was. So that's how court of law go, and the jury hears that and goes,
Right.
not guilty.
Corey Pegues, thanks so much for coming in and talking with us.